I love Kevin Hart. He's fucking hilarious. I also appreciate all the energy he brings, even though he's like 5'2".
Kind of have to. Like, if you're going to come in short as fuck and depressing.
Is anybody going to call
Get
Alex
the fuck out of
over
here.
Or is he just like, I'll toss you everything.
Sir Alex, I think we're ready for your presence, sir.
If he can get up out of the beanbag.
Alex is just like, ugh.
Kenobi looks really pissed right now. Like,
Ooh.
where you going, motherfucker?
Why? Why you leave me like that?
We had a good thing going.
We were friends. I thought we were friends. Why'd you do this to me?
For those tuning in, Alex was in the love sack over there, chilling. It has been a day. We're recording live in the Radical Bitcoin Veterans
HQ
studio here,
We're in the GVs.
deep in the heart of Appalachian, where we've been doing some work, man. I am joined by Alex Stanzik. I've got Jordan Gambrell and Mike Hobart, and we've been talking about doing this for a long time. Mike, this is your second go around, man. Glutton for punishment. Alex, I think we've been talking about this for at least a year minimum. And Jordan, I mean, you started...
I remember asking you about this mission when we first started.
Back when I didn't trust anybody.
Yeah.
I just gotten burned by
Why
this.
the hell did you trust me?
Yeah. Well, you're like, hey, man, I got my SRB and all this other bullshit. And I was just like, okay.
Yeah, I was like, here's my proof of work.
I didn't even ask for it. And he's like, here's all my proof of work. And I was just like, oh, man.
We got done like calling out this guy, and I was like, well, what reason does he have to believe me? So let me send him some bona fides without him even having to ask. Like,
I just got burned by that one dude. You remember that dipshit? And I was just like, fuck all this, man. I don't even.
Fuck all you vets.
I don't want to
all
check.
suck.
I don't want to check DD214s. Like, what are we doing here?
Ew.
Oh yeah. Ugh.
Yeah.
Gross.
And then you started taking heat from the anti-murder cult. Remember that? Like, they got, like make the murder cult. Like, yeah, it's a real thing. Look it up. Or as Alex would call them, lizard people.
Yeah,
Lizardly.
the lizards.
You guys sound great.
You sound great.
I was gonna say, good mic work, all that fun stuff. So
Yeah, good work, Mike.
Somebody fucking
Thank you.
mic'd us up
Finally,
earlier.
somebody acknowledged my effort.
I know, right? Mike put into work today. Holy shit.
You should have seen him unplugging that cable like a fucking boss.
Yeah. I never know how to go about these things, man. In terms of doing a review on something that mere mortals can only try to make sounds with their mouths and like try to tell the rest of the universe like what your experience was. But I mean, we were up pretty early. You know, the time hasn't shifted yet, so we didn't have to get up too early.
Very early by normie standards.
Yeah. So the way it works is we interact with some fun guys, being fun guys ourselves, and then we step off. I mean, I think this morning it was like 5:20.
Yeah.
You guys hit that mark, no problem.
Oh dark 30.
I really appreciate guys that can like be on time. I'm not gonna lie. Like,
No, me too.
I'm really like.
He's looking at Mike and Alex right now and avoiding making eye contact with me because the morning before I was not up on time.
I didn't know if we were looking at each other after snuggling earlier. So, it's still awkward.
No eye contact.
Yeah. So
That'll make it gay.
Too early.
yeah, man. And today things were sped up a little bit. The mountain was completely socked in. I mean, thick.
That was pea soup.
Yeah. I was like, Mike, you might just want to, take those glasses off and like leave them home. I don't know what's going to happen out here, but things started getting interesting as soon as we got off the main drag and into the woods. Where were you, like, at that point?
I was getting legitimately concerned.
You were concerned.
Yeah.
There was something with the wood line. As soon as you crossed into the wood line, you entered a new world. That's when it started. I didn't realize it for a little
It did feel like that, yeah.
That's when it hit. Was like,
Okay,
ooh.
the moment that I thought we were probably pretty semi lost is when we turned back around and started going back up the mountain. At that moment in time, I'm like, yeah, Shane doesn't know where we are.
My inner private was coming out, and I was like, this motherfucker, I'm not going to follow him ever again.
I'm going to tell you something. Like, that's as lost as I've ever been. I'm not lost.
The funny fucking thing about that is that like the path was literally like 20 yards from us. It was right there. It was like literally right.
Well, he
there.
was about 5 degrees if he had gone to the left and
Yeah.
over that tree.
My natural
Would've hit
marker, like, because it was so thick, like, there's a highway, right? Like, you guys walked back up it
Yeah.
when we were done. There's a literal highway that the deer and bear and everything else have created out here. And
All right, so for people who are listening to this, you need to picture this. It's pitch black, right? And it's wet, and it's cold, and
you can see the moisture.
you can
It's a curtain.
The only
but you can't actually make shit out on the ground, really.
Yeah, like how far could we see? Like 15 feet?
I don't think so, man.
and
I
mind
mean,
you, we had headlamps on, but it's hitting the fog, just bouncing right back, and you're like, I can see 5 feet.
Yeah.
yeah. And so, like, you're like those natural markers that are out there, man,
Or basically non-existent.
barely.
Okay, so it was epically cool.
Yeah.
right? We did find the first base camp, which is this gigantic tree.
Ancient tree.
Yeah.
Found that the first time, not having scouted the area at all.
And it's got a crook in it pointing due east.
Yeah, it's a bent tree, like what they call
bent tree.
I call them touch trees, right? Like some dude touched that thing. That was pretty intentional, right? And so, like, the first time I ever went and did this thing, and my buddy who was like feeding us stuff was just like, "Where do you want to go?" I was like, "Man, I know the area. I know what's going to face east. I know how we're going to get the best sunrise out of this." And then that thing was just there. What?
Cool spot.
Pretty neat spot. Pretty powerful spot for me. I mean, that spot is what I think changed my life. But
All right. Continuing into the
Yeah.
mission kind of time arc. So once we hit this tree, right, everything was wet, ground was wet. It was time to stop, but like nobody wanted to sit their ass in that fucking wet, like
yeah,
leaves
Me,
and
me
shit.
and Mike were
right?
leaving our bodies at this moment.
Yeah. Yeah, it was already my journey was already beginning at that point. Like my journey was starting like I think 10 minutes before like we all realized that Shane was lost. And then as soon as that happened, I was just like, "Oh, this can go south really rapidly if we don't figure out where the fuck we are."
Four grown retards get lost out in the
But
woods.
I mean, to be fair, I mean, like within 20 minutes, we felt even shorter than that. 10 minutes, 5 minutes.
Yeah, yeah.
We had that shit figured out.
Yep.
Shane had that shit figured out. Found
Yeah.
the tree,
it
right?
lasted about 30 seconds, but we're gonna make him feel
Okay,
like
whatever.
you lasted longer than that big guy.
thanks, guys. Wait till I tell my other friends.
So we were wandering the woods for like an hour.
Don't you dare! On his own property? That's weird.
We were already
Look,
running out of water.
the fog was a little thick. It was
That guy's full of shit.
I'm gonna need to see his ERB.
All right, so Shane's he packed up these two big canvases, which was goddamn brilliant.
yeah.
Those went down, and that was perfect, man. We freaking nestled in there for, I think it was the next 4 hours of freezing ass cold and getting rained on, basically.
I mean,
I mean, it was 60. It wasn't literally freezing ass cold. Just for
Well,
our
no.
northern listeners from Alaska who are like, "Fucking bitch."
You guys don't know freezing ass cold.
I honestly probably wouldn't have even really noticed much of the rain if it wasn't hitting me in the face. Like the the big raindrops coming off of like the trees.
Yeah.
Like I would get one like while things are happening and I'm closing my eyes and I get one big fat one just like right on my eye and I'm just like just brings you back and it's just like ruining shit.
Yeah, I remember that because you commented on it like 5 times. I'm
Yeah.
like, bro, Just like
I'm like,
Remember when I asked what the odds were of getting a raindrop in my ear? Shane's like, well, you're looking up at the stars while it's raining. Pretty fucking good. I am retard.
It has no filter in the woods. Zero.
your odds are pretty high, dude. I'm not gonna lie.
pretty high.
Yeah, so I mean, things were kicking in. We're soaring at this point. Things are really kind of we get quiet for a little while, and then I think like the first little bit of light, your subconscious fucking brain, like that Cro-Magnon brain that's back there, was like, oh yes, like, oh, it's gonna be light soon, right?
The
Like,
sun's coming.
Here comes Bob. Yes.
you remember those days? Oh my, like, I don't know. I mean, you guys, I know that, haven't done Ranger or any of that kind of stuff, but like everybody's been cold and wet at some point. Like, and sometimes it's way too long, and you're just like, oh man, I can't wait till that sun gets up.
Like as soon as I start seeing light, I know I'm about to start getting warm again. Please, come on.
Yeah.
Man, I
I wonder why people worship that for so long.
was cooking underneath my poncho, dude. I was not cold.
I was like, is somebody cooking chicken out here? Fucking, I haven't eaten in hours.
So we should probably, I don't know if you're cool with this, but like, this is Mike's second time out here, so we up the fun guys with Mike.
Yeah.
And yeah, he went into the hero's place today, and
Well, it kind of like brute forced me because like the first time, I reflexively like cut things off because it was I describe it as like getting that sensation of falling in an elevator, but you're not like your whole body isn't going down in one direction; it's going inwardly, like infinitely from all directions, like a black hole almost. Like it was just like that was something else. Like as soon as I felt that, like my mind was just like, "Yeah, no, we don't know what this is. We're this is
Shut it down.
Stay in the safe place, Mike.
yeah."
Stay
And then
in the safe place.
and then like as soon as that happened,
Go into
that's
the light.
that happened, and then that's why I bounced up so quick. So this time, that did not happen.
no bounces.
No, that was a crawl, dude. That was a crawl out or crawl back, I guess would be. The way.
You were slogging.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw it, man. I was like, dude, Mike's down there like working, like like really working right now, like sending that CPU.
Like I was like, I felt like I was reestablishing like connections between my brain and my eyes. Like I couldn't focus on anything. Like I couldn't physically like focus my vision on one thing. So I was like, dude, like I'm about to try and stand right now.
Mike was so tapped into the energy that he was mining Bitcoin, and he can remember 11 of the 12 words to the passphrase. And he's like, fuck, what is it that woman said? I need one more word. That's how you tap in and find. That's how you mine lost Bitcoin.
that sounds.
You got to tap into somebody's past. And be
remote
"Yo,
viewing.
What were those words you were writing down?
Whoa,
That's something that's gonna happen. Remote viewing, for sure.
whoa.
Wait. Time
Just
di-
crippled Bitcoin.
time
I'm sorry,
dilated-
everybody.
Time. He's talking about time dilated remote viewing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wild.
We just found another attack vector. You think the government would ever think of an attack vector that deep?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Touche.
Well, they did it. They did it. CIA partnered with Stanford Research Institute to do the remote viewing, where they made like 120 grand off stock trading with Russell Tard. So
If that's what you know that they did, imagine what we don't know that they did with that technology.
so much
yeah,
further.
precisely.
Down the line.
Yeah. And I have my favorite part is I have the PDF of the documents back on my computer.
And
It's dated like 1973, I think, maybe 74.
boy, you better do half. Somebody else better do another half of those things. It's got to be a multi-sig world then.
God. Interdimensionally custodianed.
That's what I'm saying. Set up a fucking multi-sig. Put one of the keys in a portal.
you better know how to get back to that portal.
Oh man, we're either gonna sound like the craziest motherfuckers in history, or dude, did you ever hear these guys back in this year talking about this kind of stuff?
The philosophers.
Well, it's definitely going to be one for sure, and then potentially the latter later, right? Because most people that had great ideas sounded crazy at the time.
Yeah.
It'll be a couple hundred years before this resurfaces through the algorithm.
I don't know, unless you take Elon's Neuralink and combine it with a large learning model or large language model.
We're fucked. There's no coming back. I'm so black-pilled right now.
So what they're
Fuck you
saying, guys, is get a place in the woods, surround it with deer, guys that are like you, and do a lot of natural stuff. Learn that. Oh man.
Yeah. Get out of your
Comfort
get out
zone.
of your comfort zone.
Well, Shane, you should talk about how you talk about like manifesting or finding that better future, right?
Slipping.
Slipping.
That's what I don't. Oh man. All right, here we go. I don't know how to think about this like in terms of meditation. If you're thinking, meditation, a lot of times. What's that?
He's scooting some things on the table.
Oh, I thought it was my kids. Sorry, I was like,
No.
dude, what's that going on in the background?
I didn't hear it. Did you hear that?
I heard like breathing.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Oh, it might have been me too. I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, so energetically slipping. So if you can think about something that's better, your frequency starts to attune to what that thing is that you're saying. Like, this is a better protocol for me. This is a better place for me, energetically, whatever. And if you can think it, it probably already exists, especially with the string theory, application and everything you're doing in terms of energetics.
Yeah.
So why if you couldn't be dialed in to that frequency that you can imagine, why can't you get to that frequency? And then that's basically slipping to whatever you want to call it. I don't know. It's realities, dimensions, all of the above, right? But they're infinite. They're all exist out there already. Which one do you want to go to? What is your future? Like, how do you like, people call it manifesting. I think it's more like just kind of vibrationally slipping into the place that you can think.
Like the flow to get there.
Yeah, we thought about this. We were talking about this the other day, right? Like, this was one of those on that rip we went on for an hour 40 minutes. Like, we were like, you have to protect your thoughts, both positive and negative.
100%.
That's consciousness.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, no, there can be consciousness without gatekeeping your own mind.
you think so?
Absolutely.
How?
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, I mean, there are a lot of people who are conscious, right? A lot of human beings out there who do not actively protect what goes into their own mind. It happens all the time. Every day. All day, every day. In fact, that's
Why propaganda works.
that is the vast majority of the population, actually. What's up, dog?
Somebody was driving by.
Those goddamn kids in the Jeep.
Get off the mountain.
Instead of get off my get off my rocks.
It's silly. No, they're not going to. Obviously, after being out there, it's going to be here long after anything those kids do out there. So, whatever.
Stupid kids.
Yeah. Don't just pick up your trash, idiots.
Stop drinking that shitty Four Loko.
Oh, yeah. We found a 4 Loco Gold on the road. Do better, North Georgia. What's wrong with your kids?
Teach your kids to drink better fucking shit.
I mean, there's guys up in Tennessee and Kentucky that make better shit than 4 Loco, for
Like
God's
Mad
sake.
Dog 2020 would be better than that.
I don't suggest going down the path of alcohol if you don't want to, but
Yeah.
jeez,
That's
Pete.
also a recommendation to avoid.
Yeah, man, that's slipping. It's manifestation, whatever they want to call it. I just think it's energetically possible if you want to do it. Higher consciousness, Alex, though. I guess maybe that's, I don't know. I need a good definition for it. I need to read some more books. All I got is experience.
Eat some more crayons.
Protecting your own mind is absolutely essential. Like, the people that you allow around yourself, the books that you read, the stuff you listen to, the things you watch on TV, if you watch TV, and especially people who you consider mentors in your life, that kind of stuff is very powerful. And the flip side of that is also true. If you hang around with a bunch of people who basically have garbage thoughts, garbage emotional processes, garbage proof of work, like their life sucks. You know, there's that saying in the Bible, by their fruit you shall know them. Well, if this dude's like life is jacked up, right? Why do you want to be hanging around with that guy for advice?
Yeah.
That didn't make any sense.
That's really good. Like I mean, I'm gonna probably butcher what you beautifully said, but like a lot of times you look, people in progressives especially look at the poor and are kind of like, oh well, they're like, there's an unjust system here, and there is that certainly in fiat, but also there's a layer of like, there's some people that can do harder things, like we talked about while we're out here. Like, not everyone can just go and hike and do that. Like, it's, you know, not that big of a deal. And for us and a lot of people that we know, it's like, well, that shit's not that hard.
Yeah. It's just a matter of like showing up and doing it.
Yeah.
It's not even like that's the majority of the difficulty that most people complain about. Just doing something that's out of the norm or
Uncomfortable.
yeah.
People
That's
don't-
falling. Okay.
A lot of people don't like uncomfortable. You get them too far out of the comfortable zone, they immediately they want to claw off and fight to get
Yeah,
back
well, like
into it.
and the worst part about that is like there's multiple levels of uncomfortable. Right.
Right. Like, and for some people,
Like any
Uncomfortable
Well,
is
bro.
unlimited.
Yeah. Yeah.
some people,
It can always get worse.
but some people uncomfortable is waking up at 5 a.m.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, serious. Like,
Yep.
you got to start with the very first thing in the day, right? If like that's a
Yep.
fucking problem for you, we got some work to do.
You're gonna have to find an industry with a different schedule. Like you stop fighting what your natural thing is and figure out what works with it too.
Yeah.
Right? Like that, I think that's important. I know my wife, dude. I love her to death, but she is not before light. I mean, not usually. And like in the summer, it's like, I mean, it's getting hotter. We got shit to do outside. It's getting hotter. And man, I'll tell you what, those covers are clingy, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But she's also that night owl. So like if she can, she wants to stay up like getting stuff ready. It's like, you're amazing. I'm fucking beat. I'm going to bed. And so, you know, you do work on one end, she does work on the other. Well,
Yeah,
you guys,
whatever. That's good.
you just flow to where you can. Like if you're a young guy out there, flow where you can right now. That's tough out there, right? I mean,
Yeah, that's true.
it's fucking
Fair,
tough.
fair.
It's tough in a lot of ways.
Back to the
Journey.
journey. Jordan would kept snuggling up against me. Oh, that was funny.
It was hilarious. The best part.
I kind of felt bad.
The best part was when he kept pretending he didn't know it was you. He was like, oh man, I thought that was my bag.
Hey, buddy.
I was traveling interdimensionally, and whenever I came back to Earth, I had no idea what was around me. And I was just drawn to this giant antenna that was next to me.
That was also bald.
Yeah. Yeah. And shade. Oh, man.
Shane was real sweet about it, though.
Yeah. We got, once we had a bunch of good giggles. It was fun. And
Bro, I laughed my ass off. So
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
for the longest time, I think for like maybe an hour straight, I was just laughing.
When we were
Yeah.
making fun of Alex and his condominium that he was making.
yeah.
Bro, I had that shit going on. I was so comfortable.
I was
There's.
get that fucking
No.
plane.
Hey.
Oh,
Hey,
Wow.
dummy.
that's not the first window
Oh
he
my
tried to go through today.
God. He's retarded.
He's fully retarded, dude.
I'm telling you, like,
He could have gone all the way out.
Yeah,
For those
he
of you
almost
who are-
did.
For those of you who are listening to this, I have no idea what we're talking about. Shane has this Doberman, and it's kind of reddish in color, and he is dumb. Oh my gosh, he's not the smartest.
He heard a
dog.
plane flying overhead and went to go jump out the second story window.
you would
And
have thought he would have learned his lesson earlier when he jumped into the window downstairs.
You would have thought.
Those
That was
win-
pretty hilarious.
Those windows are clean, bro. Anyway, as we're laughing and
Hey, get away from that.
some good work went in at that point. Everybody kind of buckled in, and was on a journey. They're like whatever path they were doing that day and or today. Then we start moving around a little bit, right? Like
Attempting to, yes.
yeah,
Some of us were attempting to.
man, I want to take people through that because I think it's a really interesting phenomenon. Like when you're coming back.
Well, like the first struggle is being able to identify that you are back.
Inception.
That's one of the hardest parts is like you don't know if this is like home or not. So like you don't know if you're actually like sitting up.
It looks like home, but so did the last one.
Yeah. Yeah. And like in my particular situation, I was dropping in and out of instances that I have no idea where they were as far as like location or time or whatever, but felt like just a different version of home. But
Made it irrelevant, didn't it?
yeah.
Time being irrelevant for one of the first times in
Yeah.
your life.
Yeah. But like going through all that and then like I was telling you guys earlier, I would drop in to one, then come back and I would like check myself like at the tree and make sure I'm good, make sure I'm covered up with like my poncho, and then I would just like almost like roll back into the next thing and did that for a couple hours straight.
Well, how long did it feel like while you were doing that?
Oh, it felt like, I'm not gonna lie, it felt like fucking years. I was just like, dude, this is exhausting. Like this is
You just put in 2 years of work in like 2 hours.
yeah.
Well, maybe
Of travel.
maybe millennia,
Yeah.
right? Maybe millennia work.
We may not be able to fathom the time scale.
Like my brain physically hurts right now.
Oh, I bet I
I-
just got a lot of new wrinkles in it, my man.
It feels like a legitimate workout.
So what scientifically happens out there, right, is that whole idea that now your brain has neuroplasticity, like shit's really happening, and that flattening. This is the beautiful part of people in this space talking about the neural pathways. If it's a ski hill, you guys heard of this one, where if it's a ski hill and you go down this hill, it leaves a track. So the next time you go down this hill, you may cross it, but you might actually get back into it.
Yeah.
And the more that you do this, the deeper those grooves become. That's like your neural pathways. So
It's they're branching of neurons. Is
Right.
What's going on?
So now, over the years, those things they're just absolutely the way you think.
Reflex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of new connections happening as you age. That takes that snow and just goes boop right back to the fresh snow. And all of a sudden you got all that horsepower that you already have, and now you're going to go out here and do God knows.
But
what
now
kind
there's no highway.
yeah.
So now you got to reestablish the highway.
Now and it just keeps going. Like
Yeah.
After you leave with that, like those thoughts don't stop.
That'll be interesting.
Dude, what you just described is the journey that I had like through space, like hopping around from like star system to star system. I started to think of space as like, all right, you take a plane, right? Or a piece of paper, and you put like 4 dots on it and look how far apart they are. But then you fold each one of those and each of those dots gets connected,
Yeah.
right? And I think space and time or whatever is kind of folded on itself like that, just like your brain is as it keeps getting new wrinkles. And I don't think that's a mistake. I think it is just a bigger brain that we are tapping into.
Yeah. That's like theories I've made about like just like how, because I think we mentioned it on the Bitcoin Veterans podcast this past week. Like you'll get the brain scan of or like a thermal brain scan of just like the neurons like within the brain, like the firing and everything. And then you look at a microwave scan of the universe and it looks the exact same. It's like
That's not a coincidence.
think of the Men in Black just like the inside of the consciousness looks like like how we look at our universe.
Who was the one that was talking about terraforming by like just throwing like tell that.
That was Shane, right? Terraforming with fungi.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, how do we go down this one?
Look, there's already a lot of
Yeah.
disconnection. Like there are people who are going to be listening to this. They're going to be like, I have no idea what these fuckers are talking about.
Yeah.
Some people are going
But
to know.
some people will fucking know and be like, "Yep, I've been there, I've done that."
I like these dudes.
Yeah.
I see what they're doing.
Those are fun guys.
Yeah, they are. And they're plugged in. Yeah, so speaking of plugged in, when we were talking about seeding planets, that conversation came up. I don't know who, I think you were talking about seeding planets.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, what if it's just a super simple, easy package that just hits the Earth? And, thanks to Brandon Quittem talking about, the pioneer, the pioneer species, like they just, whatever it hits, it just breaks it down little by little, more and more over time. It replicates, it changes, it adapts, and then poof, fast forward a few million years, and you got all this shit.
Oh, look, there's signs of intelligent life.
Yeah,
Imagine that.
Where does all the water come from?
I'm not God.
Well, I mean, I imagine that is something that would have because not every planet you would come across you'd be able to just throw something on. Like some could be complete deserts. And
Yeah,
like,
some
that's
can
a
be
dead
complete
planet.
barren. Yeah.
But I imagine
That's
it's
why
easy for them to find, especially if you can travel like this. It's easy to them to find the ones that are ripe. Like, yep, it's got water, it's got dirt or whatever, or rocks.
Barometric pressure, all that. Yeah.
It's got an ozone.
Well, it
like
also has to
whatever.
have a magnetosphere. Otherwise, you can't have an atmosphere.
Yeah. So they're just like, oh yeah, we've mapped them all out. This is where they are. So
Say that again because that was great. If you don't have an ionosphere or a
You need a magnetosphere.
magnetosphere,
I don't know if I'm saying that word right, but basically that's
I know
what
what you're
allows
saying.
you to capture an atmosphere and keep it.
yeah, the solar shield. As you're coming through space.
yeah,
Yeah, basically, I suppose. Yeah.
because you couldn't do this to the moon. The moon has no atmosphere, so nothing could continue. There's no.
Well,
It's just in space.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it could hold an atmosphere. Actually, you have to. There are very specific properties of a body has to have to retain an atmosphere.
Yeah. Maybe that's what all they look for. That planet has an atmosphere.
You learn
It's
so
like-
See,
much.
that's
grow.
also assuming. That's also assuming like what we're talking about is that like when you're going to seed a planet, it's going to be with a carbon-based life form that needs an
That's-
atmosphere.
That's true.
I
That's the
love
other
people
part.
in this space, man. Fucking, you just learn. You're just like, oh my god, just dump it in my brain. Please.
That's not how Cybertron got seeded. That was fucking like
That's a
biological, metallurgical
I'm
life
I'm
forms.
fairly certain they made that up in that movie.
We're their pets. Don't worry. They've
You
made.
think they made that up, or do you think they were fucking traveling?
Oh,
And
they
they came
saw
across-
somebody and
they
they were
came
like, "Oh, this would make a great
across Cybertron.
movie. Let's go back to the Earth and make it for these fucking humans."
Yep.
They were like, I don't know what that technology is, but we could do it. These idiots will gulp it up.
Oh man, we are all over the map. Cybertron and
Joe Rogan would be proud.
yeah. And, at the point where we got mobile and we're trying out our legs again and all that fun stuff, and I think that's that launching point. Where it's their flat ground up there, and it's cleared, and you can see a little bit here and there, and like now the sun's doing what it does in terms of like lighting up the foliage. You guys describe that, like
I think you skipped over a really important part, bro.
go ahead, man.
Oh, I know exactly what he's about to say.
No, you don't. We skipped over the suffering.
It was easy.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. I loved that shit. Like, you heard me. I was like, let's go, man. It's fucking awesome, right? But I mean,
Yeah, maybe
Conditions were definitely not optimal.
Describe, I mean, you're literally there's no creature comforts here. Maybe we had a tarp, and the bare forest floor, and you're getting just real primeval. Like it is.
it's cold.
Yeah,
It's wet. You're getting. It started raining on us at some point.
it didn't even matter because we were walking through a cloud.
Yeah.
That's true. But yeah, like I think probably most humans in the Western world would consider that pretty fucking uncomfortable for
Yeah.
hours and hours.
Hours. And the thing is like we like I think having some outdoor know-how. These guys just went out there and just did it.
You pass me that.
I mean,
Elijah.
on with very little gear, and all that fun stuff. Which to be able to pack light and go do something like that and not bitch but like laugh in the face of when it's getting worse. That was the
best.
Cheers, fellas! Like I mean,
was the best.
fuck yeah! Like
As we were 2 hours into Shane,
Because you
being
could
lost,
hear it, right? Like we're imagine this. I'm gonna try and describe it with my words. We're under this tree. We're on the mountain. It's cold. It's wet everywhere. There's rain coming down on top of us, even though we're on this tarp. And yeah, that just kind of went on for a long time.
Well, like I would even go so far as to say though, like we were all like kind of just laying there for a little bit, but then we actually heard the real rain coming, so everybody busted out all their ponchos.
Yeah.
Right. And then once the poncho got set and like the rain was going and then like the cool air, dude, I was out. Like I was knocked back really quick.
Mike, I know you were hot as shit, but were you guys cold?
No. I wasn't hot. I wasn't cold. I was just.
Oh, I was cooking.
Were you cold, Shane?
dude, so
Because you look like you were freezing, and I'm like, if it wasn't raining, I'd have all this shit off of me right now.
yeah, so for the guys out there, the uninitiated, all right, your body is going to regulate one way or another. I don't regulate warm. I regulate super cold, and I get like tight, shoulders go. But that's also when I feel that like that electricity, like it, whatever that is, man, and it just goes wonk, and you're, and you, I mean, and you were right next to me, and I was like, hey fellas, breathe.
I remember that. I actually remember hearing you say like I was cracking up.
Dude, I mean, and that's super important. Like if you got to breathe through all this kind of stuff, and you got to know how you're going to be comfortable in a lot of these type of situations, which, be smart, be with people that know what the fuck they're doing in the outdoors and aren't going to let you get hypothermia and fucking die.
Yeah, look, I mean, if you went up there to flip this the other way, right? If you went up there with four dudes who knew nothing, right? I mean, pretty good chance somebody could have died up there today.
3 hours into being lost.
Well, and that's the thing, right? Like,
Just add an hour.
yeah, you fall down a ravine, nobody knows where you're at, and like you're not doing well.
And you don't have any sense of direction. You don't know how to get the fuck back to where you came. I mean, all kinds of shit can happen.
Know what the fuck is going on.
Especially with like how the fog was, I could see how somebody could panic in that environment very quickly too.
Yeah. I don't know. To me, the smartest thing to do in that situation, just sit the fuck down and wait.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Bingo.
definitely.
But most people wouldn't.
Most people aren't
They're
smart.
like, I gotta keep looking.
I maybe great idea to bring this up too. Like, pay attention to the seasons, people. Like, there's shit like that place out there. That's a wild place. You are not entering the realm of rules. It doesn't give a fuck, like, at all.
Yeah.
And not only does it not give a fuck, but it's like, fuck you a lot.
Right.
So
Yeah. Like, there's
Right.
a lot of things out there that are basically like, yo, I've decided this little patch of the world is mine. And if you touch it, I'm going to fuck you up.
I will kill you.
not your fur babies, but
Oh, definitely not. Not bush babies.
bush babies.
We all saw.
That's what I thought you were gonna say.
Nah. Oh, well, I know.
You have to bring that.
I
You
know.
have to bring them up.
We'll at some point, if it's appropriate.
I think,
The world wants to know about bush babies.
yeah.
We've made it pretty appropriate like a dozen times today. So
Oh man, you guys are fun.
Hey.
Holy cow.
So talking about like the seeding of a planet, right? You have that pioneer species that then creates all these other things. But is it all the other things? Aren't it just branches off of it? If it was the original, so everything really is just one life form competing for the resources of that planet, right? We're just like it's like cancers
That's not
on
what
top of
happened. That's
cancers
not what
or
happened
something.
here. No, you have multiple different types of life forms.
You think
Right.
they insert the humans later?
But you could look at it as one specific umbrella of life, if that's what he's talking about.
Maybe. I mean, was the Garden of Eden already there when Adam and Eve were inserted?
Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't there.
Well, I don't know. According to the book,
Easy cop out.
I mean, according to the book, yeah, the garden was already there. They were just inserted.
Oh,
We're gonna bring you in, drop you off,
why do you have a garden already?
Standard
there?
operating procedure.
Yeah.
bring you in, drop you off in Eden.
Planet 2 billion, whatever.
Execute Operation Eden. We're go.
It's a standard operating procedure.
I see it.
And then he fucking created women.
Oh shit.
Oh, here we go.
I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding.
So, to the 3 girls that were listening,
Salute.
I'm totally joking.
nah,
It's been
cool.
fun.
They know it's a fucking bag of cats sometimes.
those will definitely be the women that are listening. They would be the women that say that they hate hanging out with women.
Oh yeah, for sure.
There's a bunch of
which are
women
usually the
actually
cool ones.
there are a bunch of women who listen to Bitcoin veterans now. They fucking love it. Like,
Really?
Yeah, and it's like sometimes we're not like, what's the word? Sometimes we use grown up language, right? And
Yeah.
sometimes we say things that are really freaking inappropriate.
Or
like
high charged.
Like the very first episode, if you recall correctly, when Shane got us banned from fucking Twitter and YouTube and everything else, right? But those gals, they appreciate it because they're like, these dudes are, at least they're fucking speaking the truth.
Yeah.
There's a lot of weenies out here who won't do that.
Weenies.
No, it's real.
No, I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
I mean, like that. Like I said, there's few guys where I'm just like, most of these that like this is just going to be guys that know how to do this stuff. I don't have to like do anything. Like a little bit of being a responsible, caretaker. out
Yeah,
there.
like don't do this and
Yeah,
this.
like,
This
you
will
got
kill
like
you.
30
Other than
minutes of
that,
nannying.
It's
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to cut to an ad real quick. I would like, speaking of like women that watch the show, Chloe with Tara
What the
Wolf.
fuck is happening right now? Oh yeah,
She's been watching
awesome.
from the beginning.
Yeah,
you
she's
know,
awesome.
met her at Pacific Bitcoin, and she was like, "I love your show. I've watched it from day one. My dad was a veteran." And I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And by the way, here's some shirts, which I think we talked about that last time.
Sweetest. Like, I mean, she almost made me cry right at the Swan booth. And I was like, it's too early to start crying. Like, I mean,
Just taking advantage of you where you're in that highly drugged up state.
I'll tell you what, man. Yeah, shit. That was thick with the Sudafed that day. Oh man. But I mean, like the whole, the creating it, like to do something created, and then hand deliver it, man, across the country. Chloe,
There's some thought that went into
and
that.
I
It's-
wanna-
it's super cool.
I want to give out some audience, shout outs. That's why I said, here's our sponsorship. We're not getting paid for that. We just want to amplify the voices of other people doing great things in the Bitcoin community.
So our second sponsor is tell them about the coffee we had today.
Oh, yeah. If Lightning Mike is out there listening, we opened up a bag of the Havening. It's their medium roast. Grinded it up, made it into got a little like to-go cup French press. God damn. When we've had like the day that we had to just go sit out on the front porch and try to catch this solar eclipse or whatever, and drink that was fucking, that was good coffee.
Yeah, that hit the spot.
I don't, and
Nice
like,
bold flavor. To
I
it.
don't ever drink black coffee. Like, but if I'm in the field, I'm not, bringing all the other stuff. So I just drink black coffee. This was the first time that I was like, I get it. I finally had some good stuff. I get drinking black coffee now.
Dude. I could drink coffee all day and it would just be the worst for my health, but I just love drinking coffee.
I hate that's a good drug.
It's a hell of a drug.
Don't
I
get
hate
me
how
wrong.
much you love it.
It's super good. I miss the shit out of it. I'll drink fake ass decaf once a weekend. I'm just like, oh, it's super good. No. All right. So we suffered. Nobody wants to hear that shit. But yeah, we suffered. We were in the rain. We laughed at it. We laughed even harder when it fucking got worse. And then we started using legs again, and the journey this is, man, is just one of those I like to see wash over you as you have it. We could barely get Alex started on the journey. he was in awe of everything that was going on.
It was amazing. There's
You
so
okay?
much to see.
Yeah, it's fucking beautiful.
I'm
man.
fucking fantastic, bro. I'm just gonna hang right here and look at things. That's pretty much where I was.
I do remember hearing you, like you guys ask Alex, like, you guys want to get up and walk around a little bit? And you're like, Alex is like, no, I'm going to hang out with Mike for a little bit.
Which I really appreciated, man. That's cool.
Mike's hopping
Well-
through dimensions for a couple hours.
Probably wouldn't have been a good idea to leave.
Just wanted to check in with
by
him every now and
yourself.
then. You know what I mean? He needed that point to point light comms every now and then.
Dude, I was
checking in with Earth. Are we still good, Mike?
When Mike was going a little bit longer than I thought, maybe that's when I got into that tree, and I was like, "All right, Mike, I'm coming in with you, man."
Well,
Like,
the crazy part was that, like, while I was dropping through instances, it was also like in Inception, like they could hear the tone from the next level, right? Like the music or the kick or whatever. I could hear you guys. I couldn't hear anything you guys were talking about most of the time, but as soon as you guys were talking directly to me, it's like, Mike, you good? It's like, mm-hmm. I just like keep on going. I was like, this.
See you in a couple years.
It was, dude, it was wild. It was really wild.
it does feel like a millennia sometimes. A millennia.
Yeah, last time did not feel like this.
All right. So we start off on the trail into the ancient valley out there.
Yeah, and there's mist all through the trees and stuff. Very cool. It's still cold. right?
Did you guys have to like feel like you had to relearn how to stand and walk?
No.
After I took about 5 to 10 steps and was like, "Oh shit, that don't work right."
Yeah,
that-
I guess momentarily. 5 or 10 steps, and then you're like, okay.
Yeah. That's an effect of.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because like when my first time coming out, like when I sat up quickly and then I like went to go, standing was okay, but then as soon as I went to go step, I was like, oh,
And then
something's not matching up here.
And then you start questioning whether it's and you're in the right reality, right? You're like, "Oh
Yeah.
shit, this doesn't feel like Earth."
Make this work again, right?
Yeah.
God
It's like,
damn.
all right, we got to pull the mind back farther down.
One of the first things I always get up and say is work legs. And you know why I say that? There's this part in Kenny Powers. You know, what was
Oh,
it? And I don't know, he's at a dance or some shit, and he has got a bunch of drugs going, and he's detesting that he has to go to a high school dance, you know, because he's Kenny Powers, fucking big time. He's gonna chaperone, so he walks into this place, and he is just hating it. He's like, work drugs. So I'm like, work legs. Oh man. Yeah, but yeah, learning how to walk a little bit, going after it's take your time, people. Like don't have anything to do later.
Well, and then what made it worse was, like I was telling you guys, I was seeing like geometric patterns in like the negative space of things, and then also seeing like bouncing between that, going to a different place, and then coming back to like while we were walking, and then also seeing like the different like strings attaching everything to everybody. I was just, dude, I was like, it was like going through like you have like if you're in a video game and you had 3 different like HUDs, like heads up displays. It was like walking and consistently transitioning through these HUDs, just like as you're, dude, it was a lot.
Damn, it sounds like you were tripping balls. man.
Oh, dude. I don't think you guys understand how impressive it was that I was capable of walking with you guys.
Have you ever walked in and out of your own dimension? That shit ain't easy.
That's difficult, man.
Dude. And because of like seeing all the different patterns and stuff, I was like having the difficulties with being able to focus my vision on things. So like I remember there's a couple things that you tried asking me, and I was just like, dude, I I literally don't know where or when I am right now. Like, you need to not ask me
All right.
things.
If you're listening to this, Shane is over there just freaking cracking up.
Yeah, well, and here's the thing is, that's how surreal this place is. Like,
Yeah, it's the place too, right? It's
It
a
is.
Oh, yeah.
it's
It
a
is.
combination, certainly, of all.
it is magic. It is ancient history. It is so much energy. That,
Like, I could
Well,
actually,
it's like something right out of a fucking fairy tale.
I could actually
honest.
imagine, like, if we were to do that in a building or in the house, I bet it would be very, very different.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
I won't do it.
Yeah.
probably
Like, I think I
not
would probably
good.
be more panicked.
It would probably not good. Be not good. Like
Yeah.
like look, like the whole like walking through a fairy tale thing. When the sun's coming up, once we got mobile and we're going through the forest and there's mist, right? But there's enough light that you can now see all of the lichens. You can see all the mosses. You can see all of the fungi on the logs. Some of them are super like fluorescent orange or whatever. You can see all the different shades of the leaves turning. You can see in the rocks quartz veins or copper.
Yeah,
or
you
whatever
were
the fuck it
appreciating
was,
that.
man.
That's for sure.
That was crazy, man. Like it was really cool.
He
Oh,
liked
yeah.
that
And it's
almost as
stuff
much as the Bush
it's
Babies.
stuff that you could it's stuff that you could walk by in a forest and it's there, but you'll never see it.
you don't acknowledge it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty fascinating.
It's like basically realizing that you've been going through life with a series of filters on.
Yeah. Precisely.
You know what I think that might be? It's your way of recognizing that you're back in your own reality. Like that's your proof, kind of like Inception. They'd have a top or something. It's you start, when you come back, you're like paying attention to all the detail because you're like, I got to remember if this is,
You got to
Check it
really
out.
investigate if it's real or not.
it's like your re-entry.
This is my favorite type of understanding of macro and micro, too, because the focus that you can have on things that are just like standing out, they're glowing in your face, whether it's neon spiders, right? Like
Plenty of those.
Yeah.
we had like there's neon spiders out. And
So what Shane is describing is there's these spiders and they have like this yellowish luminous back and with like pinkish purplish fringe around the edges and they glow. It's crazy.
And their body's about 2 inches long.
Yeah.
It's not tiny.
yeah, no, they're big.
Yeah, it's a big body for a spider.
Yeah, I mean, so and you had the stick with the blue, tiny blue
Oh,
mold
yeah.
on it. He's like, hey, dude, look at this. I was like, yeah, man, my sons have shown me that kind of stuff. Like the eyes of children, right? And you're just like, they're tuned in, and
Like blue algae, dark
But-
navy blue. Like I've never seen that shit before.
as you're going, you also zoom out very quickly into vast, like
Infinite space.
infinite space. And then what's even crazier is like this next part of this very ancient place. Now you're going to zoom out 10,000 years. So you were dialed into some mold spores on a dying stick that were blue, and now you're looking at something from 10,000 years ago, the perspective of somebody that was trying to tell you something. Like yeah, that's an exercise in like wah, right there, right?
Oh, yeah.
So we talked a lot about antennas, right? Isn't Bitcoin already the biggest computer network in the world?
Behind mycelium.
Right.
Oh yeah.
So
That's
I
deep.
think that
Pretty factual.
Bitcoin and the networking behind it, which is almost more important, especially as we enter this digital age, right? The networking of things is almost more important than the energy because we're going to continue to learn how to do this with less and less energy, more and more efficiently until it's, completely abundant.
It's like what we were talking about before is that the better we get at it, right? The less energy
So if you had all
is
that
gonna be
energy,
required
if
to
you
do
had
it.
infinite energy, why wouldn't you use that to travel in between planets like you had mentioned, but you didn't, we don't know how the fuck does that work, but maybe you have so much energy, you're like pulling the folds of time towards you
Yeah.
to make it so you don't have to travel as far. It's
Folding,
like, it's
folding
right there.
time and space, right? And then you open a portal and you just like hop through.
Yeah. Which would look like magic, right?
It would absolutely look like magic.
That technology might start as a energy. What was it we were talking about earlier?
Energy.
Focused energy weapon.
Yeah.
That might be how that technology starts, unfortunately. Until Bitcoin fixes it.
Yeah.
If that weapon is real, that's a shit ton of energy that we've learned to harness. But we're focusing it inwards, not outwards.
I see what you're saying.
I don't see the connection to portals, but we'll just go right by like I do.
Oh man.
I think what I said sounded really smart. I'm going to listen back to it and be like, no, I get Alex's take.
I get it.
Yeah, he's like, I don't know what you're talking about, retard. Go sit with the dog.
I need further description. We I think we descended into the valley with some ancient rocks out there that we looked at, and we won't get into too specific, but
That sounds super riveting to the
I know, right?
to the audience. Ancient.
We could tell
looked
you,
at some
but we're not
ancient
going
rocks.
to.
There's going to be some developments out here, and trying to make sure that this is a place where guys like this can come and do these things. Man, that's a big deal. So little OPSEC with some of that stuff, and but needless to say, like ancient man leaving ancient things, stone, right? Like that's it.
Markers,
Trees, stone trees.
Yeah.
landmarks.
Oh man,
Famous.
talking about the generation stuff, like those the trees and the rediscovery. Like, what'd you guys think of that stuff?
As far as like using them as markers, is that what you mean?
I'm just saying, like the guys that got wiped out, 10,000 years and how many ever times in between, and then the guys that came back after they got wiped out and put all these trees around for them.
I mean, it's definitely something that we've lost touch with, right? As far as like
Well-
a complacency in modernity.
And those trees aren't 10,000 years old. Those older ones are probably 500.
Yeah, at the most.
So if these markers were left, it was somebody from what? I don't know.
Within the
1200s.
probably within the last 100, 200 years. But the stones, those could have been there for a long
Those,
time.
yeah, they could have predated.
Oh, must
Yeah.
have, yeah. It's just rediscovered over and over and over.
And that's why
again.
some of them
Yeah.
were knocked over, because some of those trees started
yeah.
growing.
Yeah, we kind of just, I think, got lost in the woods out there with all that stuff, and just the hand of our ancestors that were here. We were kind of making jokes about like honey badger out there, and just that species that just gets knocked down, and it keeps coming back over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And for guys to do what we're doing and understanding like that, there are a lot of people that don't want you doing this kind of shit with other dudes. You're like, dude,
There's a lot of people that can't even stand to be alone with their thoughts for more than like 20 minutes.
Yeah, facts.
Like I had a lot of friends that were like that back in college. Like, and those are the people that just, they don't end up developing. They just tread water forever.
Yeah, but imagine like if you got them in a regular regimen of putting them out on the mountain like that, how much that would rewire their
Oh yeah.
their crap.
Yeah. Well, and
'Cause
that's
a lot of
like,
that, a lot of that is just learned behaviors.
well,
Like,
and that's the
they've
thing.
developed neural pathways based upon dopamine hits from fucking
Yeah.
video games and phones and blah blah blah, right?
Social media.
So they're a lot of their emotional / chemical electrical wiring is probably a little jacked up.
Oh, definitely fried for sure. With how like for the last 30 years they've been pushing not high fat diets, right?
Yeah, you combine
Because
it's
you got to
combination
you got to
factors.
myelinate your neurons.
Combination factors. You got and in the nutrition, right? You've got like all the you've got all the stuff that's in the food chain that's basically making the frogs gay. No, seriously, it's making dudes less doodly. How
Yeah.
about that?
Yeah.
And then you combine that with this fucking post-feminist fucking asshole movement that's going on right now under the cloak of feminism, and it's
Yep.
like, bro, yeah, nah,
Plus the Keynesian fiat hamster wheel,
yeah,
increasing the amount of cortisol and stress in the
Yeah.
system, and
yeah.
you like turn it into a everything
It's-
bubble and
it's-
stress
it's-
everybody
you know
out
what
in
it's-
every direction.
You know what it's doing is it's creating generations of fully domesticated animals.
Yep.
Like if my objective was to create a herd of domesticated
Well, you know what it-
humans, that's the way you.
Well, you know what it is it's chemical castration through public legislation or public policy.
Yeah. And every mechanism attached.
That's what it
to
is. It's chemical castration.
Yeah, and every mechanism attached to it, right? You got the healthcare system, you
Yep.
got big pharma, you got the food corporations, you've got big agra, all of it.
Yep.
All the incentive, all the fucked up incentives, like what they're getting farmers to actually grow,
Yep.
is perverted based upon what the government's willing to pay them,
Yep.
right? So you got dudes out there that are like, I've seen this in North Dakota. There's a difference between dirt and soil,
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
right?
Like you
So
you want to
dirt-
look at the soil or look at the dirt that's in Texas and then look at the soil back in Iowa and it's
Yeah.
It's
like you can
it's
tell the
top
difference in the
worlds.
temperature of the tap water
Yeah.
because the tap water in Iowa is so much colder versus the tap water in Texas
Interesting.
because there's no density to the dirt because it's not soil.
It's like
so
dust.
there's less
So
insulation.
for people who are listening to this and you're trying to picture it, dirt is like if you picked up a handful of it, it's very light. It's like dust. All the nutrients have been stripped out of it,
Yeah.
and it's dead. It's like dead dust.
it's like a light
Soil-
dull brown.
Soil is dark. It's moist. It's alive.
It's heavy.
It's
Yep.
alive. It's got living things, microbes and shit all through it.
Yep.
Mycelia, if it's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
that'd be-
depending upon whether you're in the forest or not.
That'd be the mycorrhizal
Oh.
layer.
Yeah.
Mycelia exists both in the forest biome and outside of it.
Yeah, if
as
you got if you got wood, which if it's good soil, you're gonna have some sort of like rotting wood or something in there, and yeah, that mycelium is gonna just come up, establish, and you
Interesting.
got connections
Well,
going
plus
on.
they've seen that like the mycelium will connect tree networks.
Plants, all of them,
Like,
And
all
they're
of them, yeah.
Now they're routing for nutrients, right?
Well,
So-
in the entire the entire
Dude, that's
forest.
just like Bitcoin. On
The
a
entire
that's
forest-
like a
On a bio-
biological Bitcoin.
yeah, the entire forest will redirect nutrients through the network if it starts picking up that there's a disease spreading through a specific
Wow.
section.
dude, that's
You know
the
that'll-
second reason why grounding's so important. Because if you can touch that stuff and it can touch you, transfer of energy,
Nice.
now the trees start to make sense,
I'm tracking.
right?
Cool.
Because those guys are really dug in. The connections that those guys have over 300 or 400 years,
Yeah.
Yeah.
boom.
Well, that's particular like the one signal that really good soil. From my understanding, I'm just LARPing right now. Is like you want to like talk about like some sort of soil scientist or something, but it seems like the good soil, like you'll grab a handful of it or you'll turn it up and it'll have like the white like fungi network
Yeah.
like throughout it. And, like that's a really good sign.
Hopefully some worms,
Yeah.
and it's real fluffy. It's what you want in your garden, for God's sakes.
Anyway, what
that's
got
that
us
good
on
shit.
that is the farming techniques that are used.
Yeah.
That are, the incentives are really perverted,
Mm-hmm.
and so they're doing. Well, they rotate crops and stuff like that, but they're just basically
But it's not for the sake of the soil. It's for the sake of the
no. They've
money
over
that they're gonna make.
generations they've drawn all the nutrients out of the soil.
Yeah.
You should see the soil. It's just dirt, man. And the only way they can get stuff to grow there now is they just heap all kinds of
Herbicides and
chemical
pesticides and
fertilizer on that
fertilizers.
shit. Yeah.
Well, and plus you talk about like the fact that I think that like the insect population is down like 80% in the last like 2 years. Or not 2 years, 20 years. Jesus, 2 years would be really scary, but 20 years is bad enough.
Whoa.
Literally every field that the government has where they control, the incentives are aligned in a way to destroy the thing it's designed to
Yeah,
protect.
100%.
Because the more you can make fear about that, the more we look at this from like the military, right? The more the defense industry can create fear, the more the defense companies can make. Well, they do the same thing with healthcare. We're making them sick with the drugs we're approving them to give, so they keep
And
needing
the food
the
we're feeding
healthcare.
them.
Yeah.
And then the same thing happens to the food,
Well,
and it's literally everything.
And this is part of why like the Texas Slim and the Beef Initiative and pushing like the regenerative farming stuff is so important, because like good luck trying to build like a strong generation if you can't give them like good quality food.
Yeah, I mean,
because if you have shit quality soil, you're gonna have shit quality food. Like
and
there's no way
will,
around it.
You will also have shit quality thoughts too.
Yes.
I think it's probably harder to guard your mind and to be focused and be disciplined.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of energy. and
Yeah,
willpower,
well, like
right?
because like it's even been proven that like bad psychological, like negative psychological thoughts will actually produce like different waste products within the brain environment. So like negative thoughts and rumination actually has a physiological effect that creates an unhealthy or toxic environment in the brain, and it like reinforces continuing it.
Stay away from the low vibes. I mean, that's
Yep.
it, man. We saw a lot of cool stuff. Kind of getting to the place where we walked out. You see, the lake below and kind of the mist lifting on some of the hills and all that fun stuff. That moment when you walked up there and you kind of saw it, did you? That thing need some oil?
No, I'm testing its range of flexibility.
He's shopping right now is what he's doing.
They're not terrible. They're not the best, but they're not terrible.
No, they're great. I was just wondering if I could climb on that beanbag and still be able to,
That thing over there?
Get it to reach.
still get it to talk. Yeah,
Or you could pull the beanbag over to the table.
yeah, I thought about that. But if this thing, anyway, what
You
were
could
you
totally
saying?
do it.
Shane?
I was just saying we kind of got up to where we walked out on the lake, and man, Jordan's a man of action.
Active
We
service.
we just lost Alex. Turn on the red light. 5, 4, 3.
Oh, you can make that work.
Oh yeah, you got it.
You were doing those hips, you were doing those hip stretches
extend
earlier.
extend the arm off the table to make it flat with the table. Next one,
Hey,
flatten that one.
Yeah. Flatten that shit.
You could unvelcro the cable and probably get it farther.
We'll wait on you, Alex. Get comfortable.
Yeah, get comfortable.
This is
What
just
were we
like
talking
being out
about?
in the woods waiting on Alex.
we've only been in for an hour and 7 minutes. I was just saying we kind of crested the
There you go.
down
I hate
there,
you so much right now.
Thunderdome. We got up and we crested where we could actually see it over the lake and the hills, and it's kind of like
That was a great spot.
that moment where you figure it out a little bit more. Is that
Hopper.
that how you were?
Sorry, I completely missed the question because Jordan's over here fucking taking
Just taking selfies.
selfies with the
I had to get a
beanbag.
picture of you in the love boat.
Love sack.
What was the
On a
question,
boat.
Shane? Sorry.
I was just saying. Jesus, Pete, if we've lost control, the ship is going down.
Soon as
Abandon ship.
Alex got comfortable, the dogs were just like, "All right, let's go."
Play parkour in here while these guys are doing this. I kind of like the feel of it. A couple Dobermans wrestling in the background, and we just came off of a wild ride.
Feels pretty masculine.
Yeah,
Whiskey at the table.
yeah.
Man, shit.
When we got up there and we kind of set our bags down and kind of took a minute with the lake and that view.
That fruit,
Go for it.
that fruit was like just a gift from heaven at that point, dude.
I think your words were, "It was heaven."
It was heaven.
Yeah.
Specifically the
And then we
clementines.
ate the fuck out of heaven.
Yeah, specifically the clementines. Those things, dude. I don't know what brand those were, but those things were packed full of flavor.
I'll tell you what. It's what, barely spring on the southern half. Southern half of the world right now.
Should be,
Yeah.
Somebody down there is growing some damn fine fruit. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother. We appreciate that up here.
Probably a Bitcoiner.
Yeah. I mean,
Hopefully.
that thing was amazing.
That'd
If
be
you're
pretty
listening,
cool.
let us know. Speaking of sponsorships, All right, this whole thing is like
We need
part
a
of
Yeti sponsorship.
the whole thing we're doing out here is, one of the Bitcoin veteran missions, which is Shane's initiative
Yeah.
called Brave. Like,
Yeah.
tell us about that.
That's what we really need to talk about is how we like get people.
Well, first,
Fixed
what
with that.
is Brave? What is the mission? What's the intention? And what are we doing here?
Yeah. So Brave was something I came up with because I had I knew I needed to go do this by myself. I was like, I need to go. It was time for I was after my 5 with, everybody else.
Yeah.
So I'd already done a hero's dose and I was like, I wasn't satisfied. So I was like, we're going bigger. And you're going by yourself. And you're going to go to that spot and you're going to do this solo, man.
By the way, you're talking about like twice what I did this morning, right?
It was about 8, 9, somewhere in there.
Yo. No, absolutely not.
And I told my wife what I was doing. She's like, "You're really gonna go out there?" And she's like, "It's kind of brave." And I was like, "I got this, right?" I was like, "Boy, I really hope I got this, right?"
How long did that last?
I'm gonna tell you right now, man.
All day?
Yeah, I was out there till probably 3 p.m.
Oh, I could easily see that with that amount.
No problem. I was just sitting with rocks. I was sitting with trees. Hearing the birds. Shedding layers. Whatever I needed to do to prolong what I needed to get done. And
Hopper's getting demanding.
after that, that's when this place kind of started to reveal itself. I didn't even know.
So how early? Like how long was it before? Was that before I came out?
Oh yeah.
How long was that from when you did that to when I came out?
It was about a year because
That's it.
yeah.
Oh dang. Okay.
Yeah. And I had started a few years before on this track, and so I was just like, this was really beneficial. But then as I started doing this I'd bringing guys out, and trying to work through some post-traumatic stress and learning from the guy that taught me, it became something bigger. And you started to the land reveals the fact that it's maybe one of the most historic places in the Southeast, and powerful, super powerful. And they would just kind of had this vision, you got to do this, make it work, figure it out, right? And Bitcoin's gonna kind of be that thing that rewrites the protocol. And that was that point where I had gone out, and I will tell you, the 8, that coming to and understanding, you're getting older, that, the body's hurting a little bit. You're not, you're obviously not in full control of anything, right? Then that's what you learn.
Yeah, you're counting your blessings that you can breathe and your heart's beating at
I'm
that point.
flying through space on a rock, and just trying to hold
Somebody
on.
brought that up this morning.
Yeah.
I'm flying. None of this makes any sense. The universe infinity is expanding forever, and we're flying on a rock through space at thousands of miles per hour.
And you're just trying to hold on. You're just
None of this makes any sense.
And fucking life found a way.
yeah, man.
What the fuck?
And I'll tell you what,
Bush babies.
Push baby.
having the gunshots go off while I was doing this, dawn. From the guy down the valley.
Yeah.
And then over there, the skeet shooting is just nonstop.
Yeah.
Right. So you're dealing with stuff traumatic stuff out of the past, and trying to
Dude, I didn't even register that stuff when I was.
you're talking to yourself out there, trying to make sense of what's going on. Thinking through archetypes, thinking through it's a mess, right? And you're and it's not that all of this is a mess. It's beautiful. It's amazing. It really, despite what's going on in here in your mind, that's the mess.
Yeah.
Shane. What happened? How did I drill down?
So things got tangled and overlapped here.
That piece pulled me down to that point. It was where did it get corrupted? And the corruption starts super early. A lot of times even before you go to school, right? But school for sure is meant for it.
Yep.
And so that's
Okay, describe what that means. 'Cause
Yeah.
there's a lot of people who are listening to this and they're gonna be like, "What the What are you talking
Ladies and gents, if you're on my show, you know John Taylor Gatto. I've talked about him at nauseam. I'm going to save you a lot of time.
I need to look at those books.
You guys know what school is for the Bitcoin Veterans podcast that may not be so initiated as the Radical podcast. Go listen to Radical. No, I'm just kidding.
Sponsored by Radical.
But yeah, man, John Taylor Gatto. This guy was basically like, look, Prussia founded the American school system. Henry Ford and Carnegie funded that motherfucker to make a homogenous culture that you could point in a direction for manufacturing, or if things got really bad under our shitty fiat system, war. And once you kind of have that as your root, and you're like, oh, all right, this is my communication protocol, and it's built on fiat incentive. That fiat incentive is your problem. Like, you're talking about perversion to the point where somebody feels amazing about going over and taking lives around the world somewhere. That is an amazing perversion of that warrior ethos.
Yeah, for sure.
That's so. The question in my mind was, all right, man, if you can supplant that with a new code, reprogram yourself, like take that corrupted bullshit out of your head, and let's have a code that's based on incentive, based on a positive structure. And you're sitting out there and you're like, dude, this thing already fucking exists, right? This is a perfect mission to sit there and change people who have, or I should say, let them be washed over by just finding the source code and where it got corrupted. You can change that and be like, hey, dude, you know why we do this shit? Because we're changing the source code to how we communicate as a species, not crypto, not all that other stuff like Bitcoin. And man, light bulbs just started firing. Dude, bring people out here that are into Bitcoin, show them what it means, the power, the signal, and at the same time, you have this built-in place that walks them into right here. Like, you cannot escape what's in between your ears. You walk them into that place, and then they start to expand at that small level that we were talking about out to millennia, and you're hitting road bumps in between that were physically there, and you're like, this is fucking magic. There is, I mean, I've never experienced anything like it in my life. And I was like, dudes need this shit. Dudes need to come out here and do man shit with dudes. And I think it's one of those things where we got to build, like, we all talk about it all the time. Like, there is a lack of men, like fully developed, not retarded, not without fault. You know what I mean? Like, everybody's got something.
We're all retarded in our
You're
own right.
retarded once at one time. But leaders got to make leaders.
Yeah.
Leaders have to be like, that dude, that dude, that dude.
Well, and we've
Right.
become a society of specifically dodging accountability and responsibility.
Yeah. You take guys that go through something like this and you plug them back in out there as another node that's doing something like this, and they start replicating. Dude, give that shit away for free.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, fucking go as much as possible. That's brave. You come back, you're absolutely changed. You want to, like, take over the world, recode everybody. And
Well, specifically for, like, particularly with, like, treating, like, vets with whether it's PTSD or depression or whatever.
Or just
The whole-
leftover shit.
Yeah, the leftover, just
Just
general
life, man.
general baggage of in whatever form that takes is just like the whole. I mean, there's the now documented scientific evidence that, like, physiologically forcing that rewiring of the brain can break up the branches and the reflexes that were producing really unhealthy, like, psychological environments, which is also going to dictate emotional environments too.
Well, you're basically physically, like, sort of resetting certain neural pathways, right?
Yeah.
You have the opportunity to build new ones,
Yeah. It's like
better ones.
it's like
it's
like breaking up the branchings to
Well,
loosen things up so they can be
it's
rewired.
habits, right? Like we fall into patterns and habits of
Yeah.
thought. We have habits with all kinds of shit that we do. We're addicted to all kinds of things we don't realize all day long. Like how often are people reaching for
Stimulation,
their
yeah.
fucking phone or whatever,
Yep.
right? So those are all habits, and like those cycles, those negative mental emotional cycles are habits too.
Yep.
And so, like all habits, if you're trying to break them, you have to replace them with something else. For every bad habit you get rid of, you have to replace it with a good one.
Yep.
Stop playing. I don't know, too much video games. I'm not saying,
It's a replacement of addictions.
but go out and walk in that same time frame. Go do something healthy. Go, make doing something.
Read a book.
Just
better
start.
your
Look,
life.
and here's the thing: like for people like Mike was saying, okay, dogs. For people like Mike was saying, like some people can't stand to be alone with their own thoughts for 10 minutes or whatever it was
Yeah.
you said. Like start in small timer increments and grow it.
Yep.
Like if you have to go for a walk for 5 goddamn minutes, go do that.
Well, it's
And
what's the progressive overload?
yeah, and
That's
you
the
just,
term
you
in
just
exercise physiology.
you just keep doing it, and you add 5 more minutes, and then you add
Yeah.
5, and then the next thing you know, you're up to a mile, and then 2 miles, then 3 miles,
Yep.
and then whatever the hell it is you're doing, you just keep doing that thing
Mm-hmm.
and adding and stacking on top of it.
And that's why like I made that comment. It's like it's not really a lot of the things that we do that people think are difficult. It's just like it's literally just a matter of showing up and just like getting the incremental progress. Like every time.
Compounding habits too.
Yeah.
Like once you start, I think there's a critical threshold, and I have no idea if there's a theory or number, but like critical habits in terms of success.
For sure.
I mean,
100% agree.
one of those things is going to just like right off the bat, you're going to be more energetic. You're going to have more resiliency. Those two things alone, like if
Well, just think about like routinization. Like you're making a routine allows you to efficiently not only get a lot done, but it'll save your own like your cognitive facilities, right? Because like when you have a routine, like you can just like kind of tune out and it's reflex. That's the analog for breaking up behaviors. Is like breaking up a routine. Like then you have to reestablish the routine again. Like you use your own routine as an analog for the development of neural branching for memory and behavior and everything else.
smart, I'll tell you guys what. I mean, this
Dude,
is
I think between smoking and the bourbon and the fact that that is behind your head, and that was like the space I was traveling in. I've been listening to this whole conversation, but I feel like I've been teleporting in and out of each of your books as I just see like these awesome fucking novels like right next to each other. We've got Scott Horton's Enough Already, Ayn Rand, Atlas Shrugged, The Creature from Jekyll Island, The Bitcoin Standard. And when you think about successful people, a lot of times they want to know what are the books they have on display. And as we get more and more successful, all of those are ideas that start propagating because people are like, all these fucking motherfucking successful people in the world today have all read these same 5 books at least.
Oh, weird.
Like
The Bitcoin
what's
Standard.
like maybe they're onto something. We need to tap into that network.
Mm-hmm.
So you're sending out signals by having that shit there. And that's good. That's like subconscious tapping into that.
So where does Brave go from here? Next steps, because it's time to start dragging more dudes out here. That's the way I feel about it.
yeah. Well, this is gonna be one of those things, man. And if this is more or less, we got to have the right people, and keeping culture, up front is number one. So as we grow, it's gonna be bringing dudes out that have done well, are looking at maybe helping us. We're going to have a 501c3 here, hopefully by the end of the year. Thanks to the company I won't talk about because their shit sucks.
Knock that shit off.
Thank you.
Knock it off. Enough of that.
Idiot dogs.
You were instigating it. Don't even act like you're the victim.
Yeah. Hopper, you idiot.
Fucking women, am I right?
Dude, I know.
Hey.
Yeah, so the 501c3, we're going to be accepting, donations and people getting involved, growing a board and doing something to protect all of this, because there are bigger plans than just a little bit. Like, we're going to carve out some really important stuff, and then we're going to grab as much more as possible. And this is going to be a spiritual citadel. Like, this is going to be that place that you're just like, it's legendary, good behavior, doing amazing stuff for people, a lot of charity work, and that's my heart. And so it's like, how do we do this? And I need people that know how to do this too, right? Like, it's like,
it might be beneficial and might also not be possible. Would be trying to like pay attention to a trend of personalities or individuals that like prefer like your tree versus like the what was the area you call it, the outcropping, where we were looking at like the lake, where I mentioned like both times that like that one tree that I would definitely check out. Like, there's that possibility.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, man. Jesus. All right, I got it.
Get a couple guys hanging out. And all of a sudden,
Talk amongst yourselves.
just drag them out. If it's not the wrestling match, if it's not the wrestling match, Hopper's going out the window. One of the two.
You know what it is? Hopper fucking loves John Cena. He's just over here like giving the face. And you know what else he loves? Fucking tits. Because all the guys I know, the only things they love are John Cena and tits.
And then there's Bitcoin.
Those guys think too, man. I'll tell you what, they think a lot.
Shane, I have I'm going to talk to you offline about this because I don't want to spill the beans. But how you want to acquire all this land back here, I just had some ideas, but we can't broadcast it because then every swinging.
I like that teaser anyway, man. We've rocked this for about an hour and a half. Any final thoughts as we go around?
It was a fantastic experience. So first of all, thank you for bringing us up here on the mountain.
Yeah.
Thank you for being a great guide. Before we came out, Shane gave us a gear list. He's like, this is what you need. We're going to be good to go. Up the mountain, great time, learned a ton. Like, it just fantastic freaking, what do you call that?
Journey.
I particularly enjoyed how it felt like an FTX.
It's because we were together. Like, there was, it was like a, what the hell do you call it?
It felt like an FTX, a field training exercise.
Here's your packing list.
All right, whatever.
Packing list protocol.
The objective.
Packing list protocol itinerary.
No, it was just good. The whole experience was fantastic. Thanks for doing it. Thanks for having us up here, man.
My pleasure.
And for anyone listening, if you're thinking about doing this, just hear me on this. Get up here. It's fucking amazing.
And we've been having conversations like this nonstop since we've shown up. All day yesterday, too. I mean, even before we did this, we've just had some great conversations. It's just like a good hang. Talk about that deep
It's like a mini
shit.
Bitcoin
Go do
conference.
A deep dive. It's a concierge Bitcoin conference. Gotta be a Bitcoin veteran.
It's a Bitcoin retreat.
Yeah, I'm humbled, man, to be surrounded by guys like yourselves. Like, I think people, like, if you're listening to me right now, don't think you can't do something. You just gotta take little steps. You gotta take those little habits. Take some sort of action and think about it. I'm telling you, like, surround yourself with amazing dudes, right? Like, I'm talking like men's men, right? Laugh in Mother Nature's face.
Literally
with the proper
Here it comes.
Here it comes. Let's go.
That man, I'll tell you what, it does my heart good. I would say, for if anybody is the net benefiter here, I get to do this probably more than anybody, and
You have the best life.
to experience it. Well, next time on 5, you let me know. But to have guys like this to do this with, man, that just sailed through this, made it a ton of fun. We're super like self-reliant and efficient, and
On time.
yeah, I mean punctual. Man,
Can help each other change batteries really fast, pick up tarps really fast.
there was just
Fucking on it.
You guys changed batteries on what?
You guys changed batteries without me? Did anyone else think
I
he
was
about to say
I was
that?
not a part of I was not a part of this.
That was before we picked you up.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait, is there an event that
also
I missed
sponsored
while
also
But
sponsored
yeah.
by Energizer.
But yeah, Shane was right. That was super efficient, right? Like when we needed to move, it was like, no problem. Right?
Yeah, let's go.
Let's roll.
Yeah, it was pretty good. You know, you get out.
might have taken us a little coaxing to be able to get up and mobile,
you
but
get out of the dirt when you can, man. And,
Yeah.
yeah. But no, as I'm telling you what, man, I'm glad Mother Nature showed off for you guys, and you know it all came together. And the fact that we've made this happen, and we're gonna do a lot of big shit. Like I am fucking through the moon excited. I mean, it's a fun vibe,
Some
man.
guys would have come out and they would have said, "Man, we went up there. It was cold. And it was fucking wet. And
It rained the whole time.
Fucking wet."
well, that's why
My socks.
that's
were
why
wet.
I would particularly enjoy getting guys up here that like
The-
are going through some stuff and they need it.
Oh, they need it. Fuck yeah.
And I want to be able to help like those guys out.
Yeah, and that's going to take some people. If you're out there and you want to help, man, you can contact me. You can get a hold of me through Alex Stanzik if you don't know, Mike Hobart and Jordan.
Yeah.
Reach out any way you can. And, if that's something that you'd like to be part of building, and
Like especially if it's like guys that need it and don't know like why.
Yeah.
Right? Like you just like need a rewiring.
Well, there's gonna be maybe a couple of different categories of people. You got guys out there that are fucking running hard on the hamster wheel. They're tired. They're burnt out. They need to reset.
Yeah.
This is a great way to
like
do
a
that.
recharge, yeah.
There's other guys that are like maybe they're our boys. They deployed. They saw some
Yeah.
things and they're a little fucked up maybe, and like they need to power through that shit. Like a lot of dudes will not go to anybody for help. They'll just fucking silently deal with their own goddamn misery.
Well, yeah, especially now when any answer to male therapy, the approach is through a feminine vein.
yeah.
Like
all I'm
all I'm
saying is
that
like,
doesn't work.
don't like dudes who think you're being strong because you're not talking to anybody for help. You're actually not. That's not.
Well, not only that, but you're sabotaging your own constitution and fortitude in the future because you're just sundering your own armor at that point.
Just get around some dudes who are not going to judge you. They're just going to fucking walk you up a mountain, and you're going to work your own shit out. And then the last type of dude, maybe there's more, but these are the three kind of types of people who I think might benefit from this. Is there's a lot of young dudes out there who, I'm not going to mince words, they're just fucking soft.
Yeah.
And they need to fucking unplug, get off the goddamn computer, right? Get out of the fucking house, get up in the woods, get uncomfortable.
Well, I'll tell you guys right now, like while I was going through, like when I was dropping through all that crap, well, stuff, not crap, but when I was going through all my shit,
Stuff, not crap. I mean, my
Shit.
shit.
but like there were multiple times where I dropped back here temporarily and I was just like streaming tears.
Yeah.
Don't know why.
Yep.
Like I didn't feel necessarily sad.
No.
But then I'd be like, I'd come back, check myself, make sure my poncho's situated, and I'm like 60% dry. And then like just
Still breathing.
Check myself.
Body's still functioning. We're
check
good.
myself, yeah, make sure like everything's all set, and like just freaking tears, like rivers of tears streaming out. I'm like, okay. And then boom.
And he's 51% sure he's even in his own reality.
Yeah. But like that's important to acknowledge because like when dudes come up here and go through this, because I'm sure there's gonna be dudes that elect
Oh
for
yeah,
it.
but here's the thing. Then we were talking about this a little earlier too. If you come up here and you do this, you're going to be around dudes who are going to watch your back. Like there's
Yeah.
I was saying this to Shane and the guys here a little while ago. It's like I'm not the kind of guy who really trusts anyone with my own safety, right? However, there are certain dudes who you can like somewhat rely upon to make sure you're less likely to die.
Especially
At
when we've
ease.
got
At ease,
especially when we've
gentlemen.
got extra ponchos to help you build a condominium up there.
Bro, I had the best thing going over there.
Dude,
I was-
you wanna talk about like maintaining security in a situation like this? I think I've also figured out how to tie your private security mission with what I was going to tell him about acquiring this land. Another little
Okay.
teaser for the
Oh man,
for everybody.
Okay.
we're getting layers.
They
in
can
now.
work
Here we go.
together
Here we go.
and build off of each other
Let's go.
I bet they could.
with some other.
There's a lot of
Shit we
there's a lot of citadels that are going to need the dudes that graduate, so to speak, from this program.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
Yeah. Well, this is just an opinion of mine that I've had for a really long time. I've talked to at this point, probably approaching a dozen different guys that are in one phase or another of building a Citadel project. Some of these guys are very, very wealthy dudes. Some of them are not so much. They're just kind of making it work, but, yeah, in every case, like the ones that I've discussed it with, if things remain just great, there's, it's like whatever. But if things don't remain super great, like you're going to want to have guys around that know how to, handle the stuff.
I think it's the future. Honestly, I think it's all like I think these guys are already the future, right? And like if they're doing it, then this is what you're going to see a lot of. You're going to see a lot of very small, very security oriented type of facilities.
Yeah.
And
Well, not just facilities, but the whole thing, right? The
Like
land,
organizations.
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
ingress routes, the egress routes, all of it, right? Like everything from water sources to what is on the land, what animals are on the land, what kind of timber is on the land, what are your fucking fields of fire, everything.
private
like, you're
private
over.
property is going to go.
Yeah.
Like it's going to get awesome. Like I should say property rights. So the fact that this is the future, like this is the way it's going, when these people can project more and more of that stuff. So, yeah, I mean,
As
we'll
much
do
as
some things.
as much as people or certain elements in society want to push back against, guns, and we're like, no, not taking them. We've learned that lesson. We also need to be saying the same thing about some medicinal, natural remedies that are out in the world that you're trying to say I can't use when that shit just grows naturally in my
Yeah,
backyard.
look, bro, that's growing on a
Like-
tree or a log or whatever.
I need
the
to
fuck
fight
it
for
is.
my.
Like,
This
come
is
on,
my
man.
property,
Really?
motherfucker. Whatever I do on it is my fucking business.
Who do you think
I'm
you
not hurting
are?
anybody.
Like,
Yeah,
that-
exactly. That's what I'm getting. I agree
Yeah.
with that 100%.
Yeah, I
Who
mean,
the fuck do you think
you're
you
50,
are?
I'm 40.
Yeah.
Like we're doing all right. And like, you got nothing to say, man. Like I'm not hurting anybody. I'm not taking any of their stuff. Like I'm not a dependent.
Not
like,
polluting your land.
Right. I am living as balanced as possible. Like, nah. Like I don't think so. You're exactly right. Yeah, the beautiful point. Well, let's wrap this baby up and have some dinner. You say?
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
Let's go.
So hungry.
Get on the mission for the Bitcoin veterans. Radical.
Get up to the mountains.
I love you.
Do the brave journey.
I need you. I love you guys 3,000, by the way. That was fucking
3,000.
I love you too, man.
great time. All right. Peace.
Yep.